396-5555. Jacksonville.
It feels good to know, like I said, I'm going to be here and have that stability. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really change too much, but it does feel good to have it done. That was a goal that, the team and myself and my team wanted to get done, is to have it, finished by the time training camp.
Trevor drops, looks, fires, deep downfield, got a man. That's Christian Kirk along the left sideline. Touchdown, Jacksonville! Trevor Lawrence to Christian Kirk. A 29-yard touchdown pass.
Obviously, a no-brainer for us is, we're heading in the right direction, and I want to be the quarterback here. I want to bring a championship to Jacksonville. That's my goal, and I really know that we can accomplish that. So I'm excited for that, and it just pairs up to where we happen to love living here too. So what's up, Jags fans? This is Trevor here. Just signed my deal, my new contract. Man, I'm so excited to be here for the long haul. Excited to be Jacksonville's quarterback for a few more years at least. Man, just can't wait for the future and bring a championship to Duval. That's all of our goals, and we can't wait to do it. Duval!
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, here we go. Happy Monday, everybody. Kicking off a fresh week of Jaguars Today. You won't have this trio together to kick around for very many days in the near future. Vacation coming up for Tony, followed by vacation for yours truly. Pockets, you got a little vacation coming up sometime in July?
Yeah, I got a couple days off.
All right.
I'm going to go to Fenway. You want some merch?
No, man.
Okay.
Not from Fenway.
Okay.
I want some merch. I had an idea of what I was going to say there, and I don't think we need to start off on Monday this way.
Yeah.
Honestly. No, I don't want
I
some
don't
merch.
think there's a more offensive baseball question you could have asked.
Right? If you want to leave a present in the men's room, courtesy of me, that'd be fine. But anyway, no, thank you. All right, so what's taking you to Fenway? Anything?
I got a buddy that's my boss. He moved there a couple months ago, so I'm going to go visit him, and we're going to go see a Red Sox game.
See, now I'm going to really start calling you Tyler Devitt on a more regular basis, because he left us to work for WEEI back in the day.
I ain't doing that.
He did.
All right. Well, don't leave us pockets. I mean, look, upward mobility, man. We want the best for you. So eventually, your career in broadcasting is going to take you beyond producing Jaguars Today, and we will celebrate you when it does. But for now, we're locked in. We're ready to talk Jaguar football with you. Tone, just a quick aside here. I mean, like, I guess people think I'm kidding when I go on social media, and I see a little thing, and, somebody who had the blue check mark had a fantasy column, basically. They wrote the whole damn column on their Twitter page. And it was basically, here are some, I don't know, hot takes, but predictions for the upcoming season. I'm not opposed to reading those, right? That's fine. And I'm going along, and this is not a person who's short on characters, right? They've got
the check mark.
They got the check mark. They can write a bunch. And they use SZN instead of season.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, why? Pronounce SZN. It doesn't come out season, right? But okay. So it just struck me. I didn't like it in the moment, right? And it's not the first time I've seen it or heard it or whatever. It's a little bit annoying. It's like people saying hot take and they spell take wrong, TAEK. Like
they're really bothered by vowels and afraid that SSN would be asking for a security number.
I don't know. Maybe, right? Yeah. Exactly. Here's yours. So I know. Look, I'm not going to seek this out, but I said just because it struck me at the moment, thinking about going on a blocking spree for anyone who uses SZN in place of the word season, right? And, a lot of people are like, hey, that's great. Me too. I hate that too, and whatever. And about 10 people decided to reply to me using that. I'm like, that's fine. I don't care if you, first of all, I'm not somebody who's hung up on his Twitter follower count, right? Whatever. You want to follow us? We love the fact that we have instant feedback from a lot of people because we love throwing a good poll out there, Jag related, and we get that kind of feedback. And so we know the little base it's coming from. So I appreciate the folks who care enough to follow us on social media because they have an interest in what we're doing. That's great. And this morning, I just got one right now in response to the question of the day. It's like, and they're leaning into it. I'm like, that's the last time you're going to see a tweet from me. I don't understand it. And maybe it doesn't matter to you, but you were following me to begin with, so I assumed you did want to see what we were tweeting about when it came to the Jags. Not anymore.
Yep.
Do you think, I mean, I guess we're at the point now, like, I've had this happen before. It's pretty easy to know I'm not kidding. Right? Like, because I'll block you for any reason that happens to bother me on a given day. Anyway.
Yeah. Forewarned is forearmed. Just
exactly.
You don't have to do it.
Yeah, right. And it's not like I went out there searching SCN, block. Just like.
You put it in my face after I've told you if you do that, I'm going to block you.
After I told you this is bothering me, I might go on a blocking spree, and you're throwing it right there like, okay.
Yeah, and by the way, you can thank Drake for that. He started the SZN.
Did he?
Yeah,
Drake's
apparently.
an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay?
So you can thank him for that.
Apparently. And by the way,
Kendrick is definitely the winner.
Kendrick is crushing this, all right? And
they're not like us.
Seriously, like, that's right. Is Drake still very popular? Pockets?
Yes.
He is.
Very much.
So is there, in this Drake, Kendrick, Lamar battle, are there, is it overwhelmingly one-sided?
Yeah, it definitely feels like Kendrick's got the upper hand.
He's got the upper hand because he's getting the better, but like in terms of people who support both of the artists.
There's still a lot between the both of them.
Okay. Whatever. So he's the one who started this whole thing?
Yeah, that's what Google's saying.
All right.
Often associated with the popular Canadian rapper Drake.
All right, let me search Drake. Here. What is his official account? Is he
Twitter?
Is he just at Drake?
I think it's Drizzy, maybe.
Drizzy with a check mark, but it's at Drake. Yeah, 39 million followers. You don't need to see what I'm tweeting here. Bye. Goodbye, Drizzy. All right, now let's move on to some more important things. Anything would be more important, probably, than what we just spent the last 3 minutes talking about. How was your weekend? All right?
Yeah, it was good.
All right, me too. Braves, congrats. You won 2 out of 3.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a good weekend.
I'm not even upset about it. It's like, when your team loses the ability to hit and pitch at the same time of the year, it's just like, all right.
You know, it happens. It's baseball.
We're going through this. So congrats on that. Mm-hmm. Tony got the better of me this weekend. I'm not too proud to admit. All right, so today you've heard a lot about stadium proposal.
Yes,
getting voted on tomorrow. Tomorrow, in a day and a half, Tone, we could be on the precipice, basically, of being locked in on a brand new stadium deal, a 30-year lease extension. And there are a few particulars in the fine print, right? In terms of like the city money. There was a fund to refurbish areas of the city that was going to be like $150 million from the city's end, and eventually $150 million from the Jags end to match that. It was going to, refurbish the east side and some different places. I don't know all the particulars of these things, and I know that's been tweaked to some degree, but the heart of the deal.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that's going to get in the way of it getting done.
Correct.
Somehow tomorrow.
Right, yeah. And if yeah, exactly. Right. So maybe there'll be continued negotiations on some of the peripheral things. But in terms of the actual financing of the stadium, what the city is going to commit to that, what the Jaguars are going to commit to that, including cost overruns, which is, again, huge. When's the last time you saw a big construction project that didn't have a cost overrun? Like, I'm not a construction expert or anything like that. Maybe people can point out, there are examples of that. But it seems like there are a lot more examples of it going the other way.
And it has gone kind of the other way in the NFL recently, too, right? Because Buffalo, the overages are going to the team, from what I understand. Up in Nashville, the overages, the team is going to pick up on redoing these stadium deals, right? Like, it does seem like NFL teams, because of the NFL, are required to cover so much of the cost in the community.
Right. Like, here, we're going to agree on this, but the city is only, we're agreeing to this level.
Right. We all know that all these NFL owners, if they wanted to, could build whatever stadium they wanted to.
Sure they could.
Right.
But
they could afford to do it, but the NFL doesn't want to do it.
Well, we also know Shad Khan doesn't own this stadium.
No.
Right. I mean, could he build something brand new if he chose to? Well, look, in the end, I think most people who care about this issue agree, I think, and I can't speak for everybody, that this is a good deal for both sides. The Jags and the mayor's office have been, as we talked about, in lockstep. Everything seems to be moving along. What you hear is that this should pass tomorrow. So I'm hopeful, right, that by Wednesday, at the least, we've got some detail on exactly how this is going to play out. Well, one of the things that we're hearing about that could play out here is if it does come to pass, we knew the Jags would not be playing in Jacksonville during the 27 season. Initially, there was thought that it would be 2 seasons where they'd be displaced. And now it's only come down to 1. So you're like, all right, 1 season, much better. But you're not going to play all those games in Orlando. Well, what the rumor is that there will be 3 home games in London, and the rest would be in Orlando that year in 27. Mm-hmm. So today, let's presume that would be the case. We don't know that for 100% fact, but that seems to be where it's headed. So we're asking you today the Chad and Sandy Real Estate question of the day. Which choice would best represent your reaction if the city council does pass the Jacksonville Jaguars stadium proposal, but it does result in the team having to play 3 home games in London during the 27 season? Okay, your options, and Tony and I really kind of grinded on these this morning to come up with a representative group. And which one fits you best? Mm-hmm. They may not fit you perfectly. The first one is, hey, look, it's a one-off, 1 year, I'm okay. Okay, I mean, they're not going to be here anyway. It's 1 year. Let's not go crazy, okay? Option 2, why not Orlando? Why not just play them in Orlando? Well, I think I understand part of the reason is we all talk about how much more money they make in London as opposed to Jacksonville. I think they'll make even more in London as opposed to Orlando, is my guess, right? So
I think whatever revenue they're not going to be getting when they can't fill up the top half of the stadium the year that they'll be playing the game still in the stadium while they're renovating, they'll get that back and
offset
more. Yeah.
By that.
Doing that in London, that would make sense.
Okay, so option 3 in the poll, hey, time to book a London trip. Like, in other words, like, you know what? If I want to follow my team, I'm going to have to maybe do that if I want to see all these home games. That's one option. And then the final one, total BS. Just, I can't stand it. This is absolutely ridiculous. So those are your options today. We got about 200 votes on that so far. Hit us up today on social media. You can vote at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and, of course, at 1010XL Denmark.
Go Tigers.
There we go. All right. Wasn't sure what he came in with today. We got not our tiger, but our lion, Carline, going to join us later on this morning. Hayes Carline will stop by. We've also got some Trevor Lawrence audio with Kai Stevens, who is a recent addition to the Jaguars broadcast crew over the last few seasons. And she sat down with Trevor in the wake of the contract officially getting done. Yeah. So we'll hear those thoughts today as well. And we'll talk any aspect of Jaguar football that you'd like to get into today. And you can do that on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines at 641-1010. Text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at that same number. You can check us out in the YouTube virtual studio. See if I melt under this one bright light that is shining on my forehead right now. Apparently, we got a new camera set up, right? Radio's all about camera setups now, all right? And
gotta be YouTubers, man. Come on.
Well, of course.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. And apparently this end of the studio doesn't show up as brightly as the other end of the studio. So we'll see if I break out in a hearty sweat before the show is over with today. By the way, see this shirt I'm wearing, Tone?
Yeah.
This is, I would say 2 years ago, wore this, this is like my game day pregame show shirt with the Jag logo and everything.
Yeah.
And at the time, this is probably the one Jag logo shirt that I could get into. Bro, this thing is like
it's baggy on you now.
Hanging off me right now. It is hanging off me. If you think Awaken 180 doesn't work, I'm serious. I mean, deadly. Tony's seen me. There are times, you can go back and probably look at some of those pregame show video clips, and I would just look like a big old porky pie, man. And, just like sweating profusely, not because the lights, just because I was a big fat boy. And this would be the one that I could kind of say, it kind of fits, fits. And now it's like going the opposite direction.
Well, now you can join me in the last couple of years, what I've tried to do is try to wear a shirt that matches whatever color jersey they're going to be wearing.
Oh, okay. All right. That's interesting. I do have some smaller ones that are in teal now. But like those were like on the borderline of maybe too small to wear. Now I'm excited to try those on. I don't match it up like you do, maybe I need to.
Yeah.
You know, you can be my, I don't know, my clothes advisor on Sunday.
I'm not laying it out like Kirk Cousins' wife or anything. You know, like that's his whole thing. His wife,
I would hope not.
Like picks all that stuff out. Despite that, he still winds up wearing 500 chains when the boys get a hold of him. But, you know, it is a thing.
It is crazy how many chains baseball players wear these days, by the way. I mean, thick, like, I don't even care. I'm not like, oh, you whippersnappers, whatever. It's just like, wow.
It's not the way it used to be.
Right. Yeah. Like, how do you, like, it doesn't bother you? I guess not, you know? But, I mean, thick, knotty ropes of gold and what have you. All right. Old man yelling at clouds. All right. So you got your question out there. Which choice would best represent your reaction if the city council does pass the stadium proposal, but it results in the Jags having to play 3 games, home games in London during the 27th season? Okay as a one-year situation. Why not Orlando? Time to book a London trip or total BS. Those are your options that we try to give you a range. Then you pick the one that best suits your point of view. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. You can be a part of it today. We already laid out the ways to do it. Glad you're along with us. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios. Because at the end of your workday, you just might need a lift.
Let's go home.
Let the Franchi Show drive you home.
Are we ready? Yes. Good.
Afternoons on 1010XL.
Would you like to drive for a while?
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hacker here coming in hot. I'm so freaking stoked right now I could do cartwheels. Well, maybe not cartwheels yet, but soon, after already shedding a jaw-dropping 70 pounds thanks to the miracle workers at Awaken 180. My doc just told me to forget the scalpel. I was scheduled this month for a procedure for a vein in my leg, but thanks to dropping the 70 pounds, I no longer needed it. He was impressed, to say the least. He hasn't ever seen a transformation like I'm having with Awaken 180 weight loss. In reality, all that extra weight was dragging me down. Not just figuratively, but literally. The benefits of losing it have been nothing short of amazing. Yes, a weight loss program that works can actually be done. And most importantly, done easily. If weight's holding you back and you don't think there's a plan you can do, let me tell you, there is. 70 pounds in 3 months, guys. It's doable. So do it online at awaken180weightloss.com.
I've known Glenn Cohen for a long time as a friend and a lawyer. Persistent and fair, Glenn and his firm have represented clients from North Florida and South Georgia for over 40 years in all kinds of personal injury cases. If I had such a case, call Glenn at Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing has the highest wind and impact ratings available? If you want a stronger roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Learn more at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
If you're getting engaged and want to spend way more than you should on a diamond, go ahead and shop the Big Chain Diamond Store. They love taking your money.
If you want the lowest price guaranteed, shop Beards Diamonds
at the St. John's Town Center or beardsdiamonds.com.
Hurricane season is here. Protect your property from parking lot floods with Duck Duck Rooter. Our VACCON team specializes in storm drain maintenance, keeping your property safe and secure. Schedule service now, 904-862-6769.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey Jacksonville, Lauren Brooks here from Helmets and Heels for Big Chief Tire. For over 60 years, Big Chief has been known for fair prices and quality service you can trust. Whether you drive an electric vehicle or a traditional car, they carry the best tire brands to keep you safe on the road. If you're ready to experience great service without breaking the bank, visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment at any of their 5 locations. 904-932-0950.
Friday on The Frangie Show. Tune in for the House Call segment brought to you by Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Rehab. Join the discussion as a JOI expert tells you about total knee replacements. JOI, where the pros go.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, let's check in on the text line, Tony. You don't have to, but let's anyway, before we get to the phones here in a moment. Does C''SN work for you? Season. I mean, it makes more sense phonetically, but no, it does not work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, why you're saving 2 letters in this whole thing, right? When you count the apostrophe. Somebody, and I got a few of these. That's a horrible reason, RZN, to block people. Just kidding. Don't block me. I didn't. My biggest pet peeve is people referring to a championship as a chip. I hate it. I wouldn't say I hate it, but I'm not enamored with it either. Let's see. This one, we're talking about the cameras. Been listening to 1010 for about 4 years. Still have no idea what anyone looks like. Ha ha. Mm-hmm. That's how it's supposed to be. Mind you. Mm-hmm. At least when I got into radio. That guy, my gosh. Never got recognized by what I look like. Occasionally I'd be at the gas station, whatever. They'd be like, wait, do I know you? I don't know, do you? But because they'd recognize your voice, you know, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah, that would happen in public,
Yeah, every once in a while. And like, hey, whatever.
Like you'd be saying something to somebody in a place and you could see it in their eyes. They're like, I know the voice.
I know, right. Where do I know that from?
Yeah.
All right, that's all good. But, I'm probably the same way. I've never, like, to each their own. It's very popular. We'd be behind the times if we were not live streaming what we're doing here. Yeah. It's just the way of the world, right? So I don't, it doesn't bother me one way or the other. We sit here, we're on camera, we're not on camera. It's not that big a deal. Let's see.
We covered the hole in the wall for the one person who sent in saying it's been bothering him for years.
Well, I'm gonna slide. If you're watching right now in the YouTube virtual studio, I'm gonna move this chair a little bit. There's a big ding in the wall, Tone.
There's a ding.
That seems like, I don't know, maybe like Leon threw Hacker into the wall or something like that, right? There's just a big
probably
ding.
did when they had Hack put on shoulder pads and Leon went to go block him.
Yeah, he was.
And Hack took out his oxygen for about 10 seconds.
He was going to take the punch, right? The Leon punch.
That's it. Yep,
yeah, exactly. So whatever. I mean, there, chair in front of ding.
Yeah,
it's fixed.
This is how we fix dings in walls.
That's right.
Put stuff in front of it.
Cover it up.
Seems like a good spot to hang a picture.
I'm a guy.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think I'm gonna? I guess I could get out some spackle if you wanted me to. Not on these. These are carpeted walls. Anyway, so there are a few on the text line to get us going this morning. All right, let's get to the phone line, 641-1010, if you want to be a part of it. You don't have to talk about the stadium deal. You want to talk about the offseason, whatever the case may be. In fact, we had a pretty good idea in terms of roster stuff, what our question of the day might be. But knowing tomorrow we're likely to do a Tuesday top 5, wanted to talk about the stadium proposal before it gets voted on officially. So we'll do that today. But our man Kyrie in Virginia is going to bat lead off this morning. Good morning, Kyrie. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm good. How you doing this morning?
We're very well, man. What's on your mind?
Good. Before I started, I wanted to say my pet peeve. Players like Jalen Ramsey and Stephon Diggs who throw these temper tantrums on the field and make their teammates uncomfortable, but disguise it as wanting to win. But anyways, we'll move on from that. My question is how do you guys feel about how many players on the Jaguars do you think are top 10 in their position? What are their names, and where would you place them in the top 10? And I'll take your comment.
That's like a whole show right there, Kyrie. I think Trevor Lawrence is borderline, top 10. Like I think that's fair to say that he's not firmly established himself in the top 10 to me, Tone. But he's right there on the cusp. And depending on from now to the end of the season, we may feel like he's firmly ensconced himself in that group. I think that Travis Etienne's a top 10 running back. And now, again, you're asking us cold, where do I rank these guys? I don't have a ranking of all these players. I would think Travis Etienne, though, is probably somewhere around
been
8.
saying for a while, I think he's a Pro Bowl caliber player.
Okay.
I think he would be a top 10 running back. I don't think they have
top
a
10.
bunch. Yeah, a bunch of those guys necessarily on the roster. Evan Ingram, I think, is a top 10 tight end.
You might be a top 5 tight end, like borderline top 5.
Yeah, I think Anton Harrison has the potential to be a top 10 right tackle after this year.
Sure.
Right? Like, I think there's the potential for that in there. Kirk is an interesting one, right? Because wide receiver is so bunched up.
Boy, I'd have a hard time not finding 10 receivers that you'd say are better than Christian Kirk, right? Yeah. And again, that's not a knock on Christian Kirk. No. It's like he's not Jamar Chase. He's not Justin Jefferson. No. And you can start to rattle those names off pretty quickly.
Defense is Josh Allen, I think, is definitely in that kind of discussion.
He's top 5.
Right? Foye, among off-ball linebackers, I think he's a top 10 off-ball linebacker.
And he may be right around 5 as well.
Right.
For me.
Right. I think we all expected Tyson Campbell to be one of these guys going into 2024.
Not there right now.
Right, but he's not quite there right now. And
is Eric Armstead a top 10 defensive tackle in this league? I mean, I can't, again, cite you chapter and verse on every defensive tackle in the league, but I wouldn't. I think if you went through the list and put it together, I would say that it's reasonable that he could land in the top 10.
Yeah, where did PFF have him this year?
I thought he did pretty well there, but I don't know if he made their top 10. But regardless, so I mean, I don't know what the final answer is. Putting specialists aside as well, they might have the best return man in the game in Devin Duvernay. He might be number 1. Yeah. I mean, he's the all-pro return man, so he's the best, right, according to that metric. And again, I didn't come in here with a prepared list of whatever, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you, like Mitch Morse, could he be a top 10 center this season? Yeah, he could. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to give you the particulars and the ins and outs on the various centers around the National Football League because I don't watch the film on offensive linemen.
PFF had Armstead at 19 going into this year. If you go look at the top 10 on their list, Chris Jones, Dexter Lawrence, Quinnen Williams, Derek Brown, Cameron Hayward, DeForest Buckner, Javon Hargrave, Jeffrey Simmons, Jalen Carter, Christian Wilkins. It's hard to argue any of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, but I wouldn't say that definitively a handful of those guys are better than Eric Armstead. I think these lists are kind of fluid. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it really comes down to a matter of perception. Is guy 8th? Is he 14th? I think there are positions like that where it's very fluid, where that it goes back and forth. So, bottom line, I think Etienne, Ingram, possibly Trevor. I'm going to leave the offensive line out of it. Josh Allen for sure. Foye for sure. Possibly Eric Armstead. Those are probably the guys that I feel most comfortable. Putting specialists aside, again, because, Duvernay, Logan Cook, he's one of the 10 best punters in the National Football League. But, when you're talking about rating players, you're not usually getting too deep into the specialist side of things. So anyway, there you go. Here's one, Tone. I'm not a big social media person. I like to make up in my head what I think y'all look like by y'all's voice. I get bored while mowing all day. Like, okay, that's fine too. Maybe they think I'm you and you're me. That could be the case, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, all right. So thank you, Kyrie, for getting us rolling here today. Here's something to think about for later on this week. Which position groups do you think the Jags improved the most at this year? Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we're going to get into maybe on Wednesday a little bit. I think there are a few clear ones in my mind, and there are just some that are kind of up in the air. It could end up going that way. Might not end up going that way, and that's as wishy-washy as it gets, but we'll get deeper into that a little bit later on. Let's see. Oh, here's Bush Drive Rich. Have you heard anything about home field playoff games during the 2027 season?
Orlando would be my guess.
I would have to believe it'd be Orlando. Right. I mean, you're not playing here.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're taking playoff games to London. I don't think the league is going to be set up for that.
That'd be something.
I mean, think about that, right? Like if you are the team that has to play Jacksonville and you have to go to London to play your playoff game, especially if you're playing like that opening week, you don't have to buy. I would overwhelmingly imagine that Orlando would be the host of any postseason in 2027. We were talking about it today. Tony and I were, it would kind of stink to some degree. You win the Super Bowl in 2026, and you don't get to celebrate that by having your guys at home. But, on the other hand, you won the Super Bowl in 2026, right? So I'll live with that outcome, Tone, if that's what it comes down to. Getting way ahead of ourselves here, Let's just make the playoffs here in 2024 and see how deep we can go when it's all said and done. All right, let's take a break here. We'll come back with the hammer. Hayes Carline will join us, give us his thoughts on what's going to go down tomorrow with the vote with the city council. Some overall look at what the Jags have accomplished this offseason. Maybe we'll throw that question to Hayes as well about top 10 players at their position. It was a good one, and so we'll do that when we continue in a moment. 641-1010 on the All Pro Roofing phone lines. If you want to get in, Hayes Carline from The Frangie Show joins us straight ahead on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the JOI studios at 1010XL.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Gators. Subscribe to the 1010XL Gators YouTube channel. Up-to-the-minute updates, instant reaction from Gainesville, plus the same 1010XL Gators podcast you've grown to know. And check out 1010XL Gators on YouTube.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Arrested? Got traffic tickets? DUI? License problems, gun charges, drug charges? If you've been charged with any crime, call me, criminal defense attorney Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
Anytime you've got major plumbing problems, and even the minor ones, there's several potential causes, and they usually can't be easily detected. So don't guess at a solution. Hire Roland Reese Plumbing at plumbingjacksonville.com.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting. Kick it here with Zero Res. If you're like me, you like to sit on the sofa and recliners and watch a good game or show. Unwind down from the day. But sometimes TV time means food, drink, and a mess as well. That's why you need to have the Zero Res truck out and get that furniture looking great again. All of June, Zero Res offering 25% off all upholstery cleaning, 25% off a sectional, off a sofa, 25% off a love seat, 25% off your favorite recliner. Zero Res, man. You spell it forward, you spell it backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Sometimes the most important position in sports needs a translator.
I'm Denny Thompson, and they call me the quarterback whisperer.
He shares his insights Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
Pross, I'm thinking about changing my name.
Again? You're already the media mogul, the straw that stirs the drink, the Duke of Pablo Bay. Now what?
Refer to me as Dreamfinders Danny Hicken.
What in the blazes? Is this a cash grab?
No, it's just that I believe so much in Dreamfinders Homes. 20 locations in Northeast Florida, official home builder of Jags and Gators. Great opportunity for first-time homeowners.
All right. Dreamfinders Danny it is.
Did I mention the lowest interest rates you can find? Visit DreamfindersHomes.com. Now let Dreamfinders Danny celebrate through the majesty of song. Dreamfinders,
oh, brother.
I believe they will build your
stop.
home just right.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone. All thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Cataracts are the leading cause of vision loss in the United States and blindness worldwide. Hicken here for Bowden Associates. June is Cataract Awareness Month. Cataracts are a condition that causes the eye's lens to become cloudy, which can block or change the way light passes through the eye. Bowden Eye is here to take care of you or someone you know who are experiencing faded colors, intensified brightness to light, or poor night vision. Call or visit BowdenEye.com to schedule your consultation. Bowden Eye and Associates. They're keeping the First Coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
You can't touch this.
Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
And Hammer Time with Hayes Carlyon joining us now from the Frangie Show, 1010XL embedded Jaguars reporter, and does an excellent job covering those Jacksonville Jaguars along with everything else. Hayes, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you all?
We're okay. I think we're pretty good here. You know, anticipating getting a stadium deal approved by the city council. I'll start there. Do you think that by tomorrow night we're going to have that and we're going to have some sense that the Jags are locked in here for many decades to come?
I do. I think it's going to be an extraordinary day, certainly a day of celebration and one of the greatest days in our city's history. So I do. I have a high confidence. You know, nothing's 100% in this life, but I would put it very high on the probability chart that this deal gets ratified. It should get ratified, and you know, I commend all parties and the fact that it's getting done without a lot of backlash and saber rattling.
Right, and that has been a big part of it, right? I mean, at least from the mayor's office and the team's perspective, they have absolutely operated in lockstep, and they're all on the same page here, and that's been great. One thing that we've been hearing in recent days, and we know this is a possibility, but it looks like more of a probability that if it does go down, the 27 season, Hayes, where they will not be playing their home games in Jacksonville, their home away from home would mainly be Orlando, but the possibility exists of 3 home games being played in London. We've got our thoughts we're going to get into a little bit deeper later on. Is this just the kind of the cost of doing business, that it's a one-off to you? You know, it's a unique situation being that it's that 1 year and you know you've got that stadium that's going to open the following season. What is your reaction and what do you suspect the average Jaguar fan's reaction would be to a trio of home games in 27 being played in London?
Yeah, I don't think the reaction would be great, but I question the logistics of it because there's only a limited window. That stadium is not open in perpetuity during that time of year. So, I mean, they do take a little bit of a break, you know, in the soccer season, but it's not incredibly long. So for them to have 3 games at Wembley Stadium, I don't know that A, that's really feasible. And B, I don't know that that's something the league would particularly want because it would almost seem like to do it, you'd have to double up and have like on the same day a game at Wembley and a game at Tottenham. Or, you know, maybe you could play the Tottenham game on a Saturday or vice versa. But would the league want on the same weekend to have 2 NFL games? There's a chance of that, but that would surprise me. So I don't think that even if it's what the Jaguars would like to do from a scheduling standpoint, I don't know that Wembley will be open for that to be in play.
How much do they change the field between when it is Man U or whoever playing there at Wembley compared to when the NFL would be playing a game there?
That's a great question. I don't particularly know the ins and outs of their turf and how all that works. I don't think they have to do anything radical. So I don't think it would be necessarily like that they have to resod or whatever after the NFL game and they need more time for the soccer. It's more just the break isn't all that long. And there's other things that obviously Wembley Stadium hosts. So, I mean, to just think that, it's no problem from a scheduling standpoint, we can easily play 3 games at Wembley Stadium, you know, during the soccer break. I'm not ruling it out, but I think from everything I understand, that would be incredibly difficult. And the league is locked in at Tottenham too. And, you know, and that, again, that's on the same break timeline. So it's not like they could play the games at Wembley and then 2 months later come back to Tottenham. They kind of have to be in the same time frame. And I just don't think the league is going to, you know, add to their weekend if they've already got something at Tottenham. So I think I wouldn't worry about it if you're a Jaguars fan and you're upset by this news. I wouldn't be particularly worried about it. I'm sure they'll play their one home game, you know, certainly at Wembley. I don't think that's going away. But I'd be surprised if they have the opportunity to play 3 just because I think it would be so cramped. So I wouldn't worry about it. My guess is they'll play 1 over there like they always do. They may play a second as the road team. You know, they seem like they've settled into liking to do that. So, you know, so I would expect more status quo during the stadium build than I would the team departing for more home games in London than what we're used to.
Yeah, and I would imagine, you know, the guys that are taking care of the fields that have had to do this for a while now, right? With an NFL game and figuring out what that's going to look like with whatever the Premier League schedule is going to be on that field. They have an idea that they may be able to play a soccer game on Saturday and get that field ready for an NFL game on Sunday. I don't know how often they'd want to do that kind of thing, Hayes, though, which this is an interesting question because they've never had to think about it this way.
Over there by like a mile. So if it in any way, shape, or form has a negative effect on the soccer component, they're not going to do an NFL game. So, I mean, they're not – the NFL is not the top priority over there by a mile. So, it's much different there than it is here. They don't really, they like having it, but it's more of a attraction than it is a core part of their sports culture. So, yeah, if it in any way, shape, or form makes it harder to play soccer there, there's no way they would do it. But like I said, the window is so limited during the soccer break. I'd be surprised if they're able to squeeze 3 games in.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, that's certainly being kicked around as a possibility right now. And the important thing to remember is it would be a one-off type situation where, they're not going to be playing here in Jacksonville regardless during the 2027 season. I don't know. I'm sure there are some Jaguar fans that are going to make the trip to Orlando every home game that's possible, but I don't think that's 100% across the board of what you'd see here in Jacksonville anyway. So, Hayes, let's move to some on-the-field stuff. I know you're on with Tony while I was out on vacation, but I'd love to get your thoughts. Just in general, how much did this team improve themselves this offseason? I don't know. However you want to quantify it, are they considerably better than they were at the end of last year? Are they about the same? Do you feel like they've maybe backed up in some areas?
I think they're better. In terms of, let's start with losses of significance. It's Calvin Ridley and Darius Williams. That's the only 2 guys that I think you can put in there. Dewan Smoot, Kayvon Chason, I don't think they qualify. Smoot's a better player than Chason, but he really struggled coming back from the Achilles. So, I think in terms of significant losses, you lost Ridley and Darius Williams. Well, you've gained Mitch Morris and Darnell Savage and Gabe Davis and Eric Armstead, and then you've added your draft class, which I think they did a much better job than what the bulk of the national analysts believe. And so, I think they're significantly better than they were when they walked off the field in the disappointing finale. So, we'll see. It's only on paper, and we'll see how it comes together. But I don't see how anybody can believe that they're worse on paper than unless you just have some really inflated view of Calvin Ridley. But again, I thought there were times that he really was a disappointment more than an asset for them. So again, I think you look at the 100-yard games that Calvin Ridley had, and the worst case scenario this year is that Brian Thomas Jr. gives you 4 fewer 100-yard games than Calvin Ridley did last year. That's the worst case scenario, because that's how many 100-yard games Ridley had. Mm-hmm. He had 101 against the Colts in the opener. He had 122 against Buffalo. He had 103 in the first meeting against the Titans, and he had 106 in the finale against the Titans. So, you're talking about a player whose season high was 122 yards, and he didn't score in that game. So, to me, I think it's hard to argue that, that they are worse. I think that it's just a question of, do you view it as they're a little bit better or they're significantly better? I would say it's somewhere in between, but I think that they are definitely better on paper than they were last year.
Talking here with Hayes Carline of the Franchi Show. Hayes, a lot of interest and attention paid to every offseason in terms of managing the salary cap. Some guys are let go. You free up cap space. We speculate who those guys might end up being. All along, the Jags started out with X amount of cap space, and it seems like it's only either stayed the same or grown, right? Like, they've done a magnificent job managing the cap. So when you look back at the decision to let Darius Williams go, who had a great year here in Jacksonville last year, do you think that they just said, no matter what, at that cost, with his fit in a Ryan Nielsen defense, we don't think it's going to be worth it. If Ronald Darby stays healthy, he'll be just as good, if not better. What do you, as you reflect on the decision to let Williams go, who did have a really good year, the top corner in Jacksonville last year, what do you make of the ultimate decision, considering they could afford him under the cap?
I think it was more scheme related than anything else. And, so I think that they realized early on that they were looking for a different skill set there. And so, they go and sign Ronald Darby, that to me is a good reserve reserve player. I don't know that I'd feel comfortable with him as the starter opposite Tyson Campbell. But I do really love Jarian Jones as a prospect, and I think that he's going to ultimately beat Ronald Darby out and be the starter opposite Tyson Campbell. Now, he could certainly struggle. We'll see. But I'm excited to see what he can do. And, I look at it as if it's close, I would start Jarian Jones, because if it's close going into the Dolphins game in week 1, by week 6, Jarian Jones is going to be light years ahead of Darby if he's out there playing. So I think ultimately they're going to be in better shape there for what Ryan Nielsen wants to do than they would have been had they tried to make a square peg fit in a round hole with Darius Williams in this defense.
Hayes, assuming Trevor's able to stay healthy all year, what do you see as the biggest potential Achilles heel for the Jags this season?
I still worry a little bit about the pass rush if something happens to Josh Allen or Trayvon Walker. I don't get a sense they're going to do much to upgrade it at this point. I think the team is sort of the team. So that puts a lot of pressure on Travis Gibson potentially if something were to happen. So, for me, it's there. I think the best battle in camp is going to be that starting corner spot opposite Tyson Campbell. So you need one of those two guys, Darby or Jones, to be ready to go and play at a productive level. And then I think you have to worry about the offensive line just until you see it gel and play at a high level and stay healthy and available. I think you have to worry a little bit about that. And I am in the camp that I'm worried about the play calling. I wish Doug Peterson would just take it over from Press Taylor. It's something that, I think he's shown he is gifted at. And while I understand the wanting to manage a game from more of a macro standpoint, to me, calling plays, there is a knack to it. And there is a difference between a guy that can look at a call sheet and have something drawn up throughout the week and have a plan for every contingency, have a play for every contingency. That's all great. But great play callers have a knack, and I think Doug Peterson has shown that he has that knack. And it's not, maybe Press Taylor has it too. We just haven't seen enough of it. But this is a big year, and I just don't understand if the head coach is good at something, why would he not do it? And again, but there's some people that believe that it's not a big deal at all. I'm not in that camp. I wish Doug Peterson would call the plays. I think it's I think it makes the Jaguars their most dangerous, and therefore that's what should be done. If I was the Miami Dolphins, I would feel much better going into the opener knowing it's Press Taylor calling the plays than Doug Peterson. I mean, that's just maybe that's wrong, but that's my opinion of it. So I do worry a little bit about the play calling. So I would say supplemental pass rush. I would say corner opposite Tyson Campbell, although I think Jarian Jones is going to be very good there. And I would say, we need to see the offensive line play at a high level consistently. And we need the play calling to actually look like it's keeping defenses off balance.
All right, Hayes, going to put you on the spot. Final question, because we got put on the spot by a caller this morning. How many players on this roster do you think are top 10 at their position in the National Football League?
I'd say one, Josh Allen.
One?
Probably top
really?
10. Well, I mean, top 10, yeah. I mean, you could make an argument for, I'd probably put Ingram in top 10. Yeah, so 2.
No ETN?
It'd be close.
No Foye?
Yeah, I think Foye you'd have a good argument for. I think ETN you could certainly make an argument for. I'd have no problem having him in the top 10. But if you're asking me if you ask 90% of people that cover the NFL and they looked at this roster and you asked them this question, I think the answer would be more towards 1 or 2 than it would be 4, 5, or 6. But I think that can change. I think Trayvon Walker's headed for a huge year. Christian Kirk, if he's healthy, could have obviously a big year. what can Gabe Davis be here? You know, he's caught 33 touchdowns if you include his playoff game. The guy's 25 years old. Anton Harrison, you know, what can he be in his second year? Tyson Campbell's got unbelievable potential still, even though he's played a good amount of football here if he's healthy. So I don't think it'll end on that number. But if you're asking me today, I would say Josh Allen is probably the only one that I think would get universal mention. But Evan Ingram probably should be safely in there. I would think most people would have him between 6 and 8. So
yeah, I'd be shocked if Ingram wasn't top
I'll amend
10.
it to say 2, possibly 3.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? In the end, play it on the field. Who cares what anybody ranks the players? It's going to come down to how many wins they end up piling up. Hayes, let's hope we have a big celebratory next couple of days with the stadium deal getting done and locking in Jaguar football in Jacksonville for many decades to come. But until then, we appreciate the visit as always, and thanks for hopping on.
Sure thing. Always enjoy it. Take care.
You got it, buddy. At Hayes Carlyon on social media. By the way, Tone, I just happened to come across on CBS Sports a ranking of the top 20 running backs for the season, right? So is Etienne a top 10 running back based on the conversation we're having? They rank him 11th. Here's my issue with the 11th ranking. Aaron Jones is 10. Aaron Jones ran for 656 yards and 2 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you have to factor in age and injury propensity at this point? Nick Chubb may not even play a snap this year. He had a devastating injury last year. They rank him 5th in the NFL. Oh, so I guess we're ranking them as if not these things never happened or what we like. That's weird to me. Nick Chubb ran it 28 times for 170 yards last year, and they even go on to say he'll turn 29 in December, but if he can bounce back from the latest injury setback, there's a chance he can return to being one of football's best running backs. Well, you already rank him there.
Yeah.
So what are you saying? There's a chance he can return to that when you rank him 5th in the NFL. What are you saying? He could return to 1? I mean, that's a little weird to me. So, again, that doesn't mean Etienne is a mortal lock for the top 10.
No.
But you got to consider who's doing these rankings and what their criteria is for some of this stuff. I think if you took the average football fan, and what they're going to do is, when it comes to tight end, they're going to mostly vote on stats, right? The receptions, the yardage, all that stuff. Evan Ingram's easily a top 10 tight end in today's National Football League based on the last couple of seasons. And I think he's more close to pushing the top 5 than he is being outside the top 10. So anyway, you and I probably a little bit more bullish on a couple of guys. And again, not factoring in specialists, you're supposedly going to line up the best return man in the league this year in Devin Duvernay. So again, not to get too far afield on that. All right, today's focus is more about what goes down tomorrow with the city council vote. We're asking you, which choice would best represent your reaction if the council passes the Jags stadium proposal, but it results in the team having to play 3 home games in London during the 2027 season? I'm okay with it as a one-year situation. Why not just play them in Orlando? Time to book a London trip, or it's total BS. I got to agree with Doom on this one, grudgingly. He says, I rarely find myself in disagreement with Hayes Carlyon, but on this, I will be shocked if the Jags don't play 3 home games in London in 2027. I don't know if I'm that strong on it, but I certainly think if it's floated to this degree already, that the logistics of that are kind of in the works. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to say, hey, we got too much soccer. I think they'll find a way to play those games in Wembley. Now, could it be that they play a couple in Wembley and they play another one somewhere else? I guess that's possible, but I know how much Shad Khan wants Wembley as the home away from home site. And then, if you're playing a road game there as well, look, it could be a tremendous advantage for the Jags. If you could settle in for a month over there while other teams are having to fly in and out, we don't know what the result is going to be. But anyway, we don't even know it's definitely going to go down that way. But if it does, how are you going to feel about it?
Well, and if they're playing a road game over there in one of those 3 games, then likely that'll be at Tottenham.
Right.
Right.
But it would be probably 3 home games plus a road game.
Yeah. That's a lot.
It is a lot. But if you're there, you're there.
You're there.
Now, what would drive me crazy is if they took a 2-week trip to London, came back to the States, played whatever, and took another 2-week trip to London. That is a non-starter.
Look, and I think England, the last several years, when they've upped the number of teams that have been playing over there, I think the soccer stadiums have figured out what it looks like if we're going to have to host a football game every week, 3 weeks straight. I think they can figure that out, right? They've done that. I agree. They've done that part of it. Now, if they're having to do that for one team in Jacksonville, right, having to do that, and then you're also adding the other teams that are going to have to come over there and play. So now instead of a schedule of 4 games or whatever it was going to be, you're having to figure out how to schedule 7 or 8. Right. That is different, right, from the perspective of England hosting all those games. But I do think whatever it is, if they're willing to talk about it the way they have been, it feels like they're not all that worried that that's going to get in the way of it happening.
All right, let's take a break here. We'll come back. Tony will take us around the rest of the National Football League. We're going to hear Trevor Lawrence's sit-down with Kai Stevens, at least some of that. Kai, part of the Jaguars digital team over there, and we'll get some of his recollections and thoughts after, once again, getting his contract done. We certainly heard his press conference. This is more of an intimate one-on-one type interview setting. So we'll play some of that audio for you coming up in hour number 2 as well. With Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios at 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Harry Carson.
Hi, this is Coach Mark Rick.
On 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
The saying goes, the grass is greener on the other side. Well, that is actually true if your neighbor installed artificial turf. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned local company that will take your backyard dreams and turn them into a reality. Caleb can design anything from putting greens to pet runs, and if you have a pool, you'll definitely love maintenance-free turf around it. Visit sunshineturf.info to get a free quote today. Sunshine Turf. That's sunshineturf.info.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Moms and dads looking for some serious summer fun for your kids? Then check out I-9 Sports Flag Football Tournament Series. It'll run through June and July, and you can put a team together and join in on the action. Ages 4 to 14. Go to i9sports.com for all the details. It's happening at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows at their brand new turf facility. If you've got a youth flag football team or want to put one together, get ready for the I-9 Sports Flag Football Tournament Series this summer. Check it out at i9sports.com.
Enjoy the thrill of the grill at John Smith Subs with specialty subs like the Steak Bomb, the Gator, plus a full lineup of cold and hot deli subs, including the best Cuban and Duval. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs on Hodges and JTB.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool? Our returning champion, a basketball court sweat mopper from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Louis Cramp.
Great to be back, Merv.
There's only one category left on the board, Louis. People you can trust to repair your air conditioner. Your 10 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm pretty handy with tools around. Right, so my Uncle Steve used to fix transmissions, so maybe he could... Okay, sorry. I guess just call the guys at Bueller?
That's right, Louis. The highly trained technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing have the tools and the experience to service any make and model of home air conditioner to make sure that you are cool.
You sure I can't just have a quick...
Yeah, we're done for today.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. Did you take Awaken 180 up on dropping 40 pounds by the 4th of July? If you did, next week you'll reach that goal, so congrats. And if you didn't call Awaken 180, why not do it now? Fast weight loss, easy weight loss, and then free support for life.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by Kuhn Flowers. According to a report from the Florida Times Union, if the stadium renovation proposal is passed, the Jaguars' 2027 season could end up seeing 3 games being played in London, while the other home games will be played in Orlando or Gainesville. The City Council votes on June 25th. The College Baseball Foundation named Florida first baseman and left-handed pitcher Jack Caglione the 2024 John Olerud Two-Way Player of the Year Award. The annual award goes to the top two-way player in college baseball. Thanks to 7 runs in the first 3 innings, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp outlasted the Memphis Redbirds Sunday afternoon for a series win. Following today's day off, Jacksonville will take on the Nashville Sound for a 6-game homestand at 1-1 Financial Ballpark. That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 11:05, it's 88 degrees. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, coming up in about 10 or 12 minutes or so, we'll get some of that Trevor Lawrence audio out to you as he sat down with Kai Stevens with the Jags digital team. And you can see the full interview over at Jaguars.com, but we'll reflect on what Trevor had to say. But for the moment, Tony Smith going to take us around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
The Green Bay Packers Board of Directors voted unanimously this morning to approve Ed Policy as the franchise's new president and CEO, per sources, a move that will make Policy the de facto owner of the NFL's only community-owned franchise. Starting in July of 2025, Detroit legendary Hall of Fame running back Barry Sanders shared over the weekend that he had a heart health-related scare a couple of weeks ago during the Father's Day weekend. A statement from Sanders reads in part, quote, "I am grateful for the amazing doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals for providing me with needed care. My family and I are thankful for your prayers and support during this time. Per my doctor's recommendation, I am taking this opportunity to prioritize my health and well-being. I appreciate your understanding and continued support," end quote. And former Colts linebacker Shaquille Leonard is still looking for a place to play this year. Speaking at an event for his Maniac Foundation on Saturday, Leonard said that he is still keeping his options open for this year, but that he is at peace with it if his career is done.
Yeah, man, he really is, a few years ago was considered maybe the best linebacker in football.
Yep.
Right? Certainly, off-ball linebacker, the inside linebacker types who pile up the tackles, but was a shadow of himself last year when he did play, and life comes at you fast, and that's just the way it goes. But he's sitting out there unsigned at the moment. I saw this over at NFL.com. 8 dark horse candidates for MVP this year. Dark horse. I mean, obviously, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, probably Josh Allen. Those guys going to be near the top of a lot of people's MVP type watch lists, right? I'll tell you, Trevor Lawrence is not on the list. Okay. How many do you think you can get of the 8 dark horse MVP candidates?
Sure. I don't know.
It's a tough one, right? They're not all quarterbacks, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, McCaffrey.
McCaffrey's on there for sure. It's tough. I'm throwing this at you cold here.
Jefferson?
What'd you say, Pockets?
Nah, my bad. I thought you were talking to me.
Oh. Pay better attention then. No, Justin Jefferson is not on there.
Is there any receiver on there?
Tyreek's on there. Yeah. Here's the, let's go through them here quickly. You had
CJ Stroud?
Stroud was on there. And this is kind of the point. Jared Goff's on there. Okay. Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey. That's 3. Kyler Murray is a dark horse MVP candidate.
Interesting.
Okay. Micah Parsons.
Man, that'd be such a massive jump for Arizona.
it'd have to be.
Right.
But
like, they'd have to be like a 12-win team, I would think, for any of the quarterbacks that are going to be considered for the MVP are going to have, odds are, whatever quarterback wins the MVP is playing on the 1 or 2 seed in one of the conferences.
You would think. Yeah. Right.
Like, that's how that works. To think that Arizona can make that kind of jump this year, my goodness.
I mean, certainly Detroit could have that kind of record.
No doubt.
See.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons on here, which is, I mean, that's dark horse as it gets because you've only had one guy on the defensive side win MVP. Or I'd say the last time you've had one was Lawrence Taylor in 86.
Yeah.
May have been a few prior to that. But regardless, the odds of that happening are incredibly slim. What would Dallas have to be? Number 1 seed, have the number 1 defense, Parsons lead the league in sacks, something along those lines, right? And then still, if they are that, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, those guys probably have gaudy numbers.
Yeah.
And are you able to select Micah Parsons out of that group?
Right.
I mean,
and a quick look, there's only been 2 players on defense that have ever won the league MVP. Lawrence Taylor in 86, Alan Page in 1971.
Okay, so 2.
2.
In the history of the award.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud's on there. Of course he is. Tua's on there, Tony. Because of course he is. Bonus pick, Jordan Love's on there. All these quarterbacks that apparently,
Love is getting the love, boy.
He really is. And he had a good year, right? He had 32 touchdowns, 11 picks. He's played 1 year. In the NFL. So is C.J. Stroud. Do we know what they're going to be on an ongoing basis? I get it. It's dark horse. Not saying that these guys are the favorite, but it is funny to me, like the kind of the tax bracket that they're all in, they're all being compared to each other. Trevor Lawrence's deal, Jordan Love's deal, Tua's deal, Jared Goff's deal.
Yeah.
Who's going to get a little bit more than the last guy? And he's the one that they easily dismiss.
With a couple of those names that you just mentioned there, that Trevor Lawrence belongs among those names as a dark horse candidate makes sense.
Totally makes sense. Like, again, a guy, as you pointed out last week, he got MVP votes in 2022.
He did.
If the Jags go from 9-8, 9-8 to 12-5, and they're the 2 seed in the AFC, something along those lines, and Trevor Lawrence has that kind of breakout season, why wouldn't he be in the conversation?
I would be surprised if he wasn't.
Yeah, it's more a little bit reflective of this is how they feel. And again, in the end, doesn't matter how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Lawrence is under contract. He's going to be the Jags quarterback for a long, long time. Is he good enough to get them where they want to go? I believe he is. Does that guarantee he will get them where they want to go, meaning a Super Bowl championship? Of course not.
Right.
But the same holds true for all these other guys out there as well. I mean, Tua led the league in passing last year. Did you have just any kind of a sniff that he was an MVP candidate last year? I didn't get that sense at all.
Vote?
Maybe he did, but I would have thought Tyreek Hill was seen as much more the stronger candidate on that football team than Tua was. But again, it's dark horse, so it's not going to be the guys who automatically align at the top. And it has become predominantly a quarterback award. So anytime you list anybody like McCaffrey or anybody else who doesn't play quarterback, I think that's fair to call them a bit of a dark horse when it comes to that. So.
The Tua was 5th in the comeback player of the year voting last year.
Okay.
He was 9th in the MVP voting in 2022.
In 2022?
Yeah.
But didn't show up last year.
Didn't show up in the MVP vote last year. Correct.
And the comeback thing was because of all the injuries.
Yep.
Right? So, look, he had a good year. I'm not denying that statistically, and that's basically what these things get voted on, statistics and wins for quarterbacks. Not a quarterback stat. Well, they get, go out there and throw for 5,000 yards and go 6-11 and see who's going to care. Nobody.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to be in that kind of conversation. All right, let's take a time out here. We'll come back with the Trevor Lawrence audio that we promised. Kai Stevens sitting down with him from the Jaguars digital team. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. We'll come back with that Trevor Lawrence sound on the other side. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
When you pull on that jersey, you represent yourself and your teammates. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
1010XL.
Get that through your head. Again.
1010XL.
I got more proactive with my health by doing a total body MRI scan at Ackerman Cancer Center. The MRI scanned the most common cancer areas for men and a whole lot more. Call Ackerman Cancer Center to learn about total body MRI and use code GREG15 to get special pricing.
Did you know a metal roof from Prime Roofing will last 2 to 3 times longer than a shingle roof? If you want a better roof, think metal. Think Prime Roofing. Schedule your free estimate today at primeroofingfl.com. That's primeroofingfl.com.
AC Hotline, how can I help?
Help! Our AC isn't working, and my husband's pouring ice cubes down his pants.
Wow. Okay, well, we can help with the AC issue.
Please. I'm afraid he's going to damage something.
Okay, I'm going to connect you with the Duck.
The Doc?
No, the Duck. Duck Air Conditioning. Jacksonville area's AC experts.
Okay, tell them to hurry.
Beat the Florida heat with Duck Air Conditioning. Service, repairs, new installations, commercial or residential. Trust the Duck. DuckDuckAC.com.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Mia O'Brien.
Fun-loving girl.
On Helmets and Heels from noon to 2.
Likes to laugh. Lives to love. No dull moments tolerated.
Mia's quick hits are driven by Arlington Toyota on the video and social channels of 1010XL.
What Major League Baseball player has drawn the most walks during his career? The answer next.
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Barry Bonds holds the record for most career walks, being given first base over 2,500 times.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loans, and personal loans. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Matt Hayes here for Leonard Truck Outfitters. The Southeast's biggest truck accessory and trailer company is opening their newest location on Beach Boulevard. Truck accessories, trailers, or commercial uplifts, they've got you covered. From Real Truck, UWS, Weather Guard, carry-on trailers, and much more. Join us for our grand opening on June 28th, starting at noon. XL Primetime will be there live from 2 to 4 with special promotions and giveaways, even a free golf cart. That's June 28th. Don't forget about our other location on Blanding Boulevard.
All right, gang, Hicken here. Let's talk skin. Me, myself, I am Beaches Dermatology. Want you to wear the sunscreen, man. It's summertime in the Sunshine State, which is great, but you got to wear the screen. You're going golfing, you're going out boating, you're going to the beach. 4th of July is almost here. When you're packing that bag for the festivities, bring the screen. And by the way, any concerns on your body right now, give Beaches Dermatology a call. I've been seeing them for years, and my skin thanks me for it. Call today online at beachesdermatology.com.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands names of wine. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's, well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL.
All right, moving along here, we will discuss today's question of the day amongst ourselves coming up here in the not-too-distant future. But by the way, Dylan sent out the shot from the studio where we had Hayes Carline coming on. Trevor Lawrence drawing by Libby, very well done, front and center. We always make sure that thing is well represented right out there. Somebody also forwarded me a tweet from the 1010XL account that said, Cephas season? SZN. Here's the difference. I have to follow 1010XL. All right? But no, not a fan. I don't
see
care.
what I sent you?
What did you send me?
About an hour ago.
I don't know.
It's White Claw season.
I did see that, yes. And I don't have to follow you. So
technically you don't.
I don't, right? But
how far into White Claw season were you when you tweeted that?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know.
Half a case?
TBD.
Right.
Whatever.
It's more forgivable the more White Claws are involved.
And again,
yeah,
it's more like it's just an annoyance that I'm not going out of my way. But if you're going to go out of your way to then throw it in my timeline, there's a good chance. Like somebody said, hey, it's Braves taking 2 out of 3 from the Yankees season. Like if you want to talk a little smack, it's okay. Yankees lost 2 out of 3, but once you threw that in, I hope it was worth it. It's the last tweet. The last time you're ever going to see one of my tweets. Like if you could have just written out season, it would have been fine. Anywho, so today's question of the day, what choice would best represent your reaction if the city council passes the Jags stadium proposal, but it results in the team having to play 3 home games in London during the 2027 season? SEASON. Okay as a 1-year situation. Why not Orlando? Time to book a London trip or total BS. So you can reply with whatever you think fits your point of view the closest. All right, let's get to Trevor Lawrence with Kai Stevens from Jaguars.com, part of the Jaguars digital team. She does a tremendous job over there. Just going through a few things. They had a sit-down interview again. This is post Trevor officially signing on the dotted line last week, had the extensive press conference that we aired here for you on Jaguars Today. But I just talked about the relief of having the situation now over with.
This was something, we started talking about early in the offseason. And you never know if, when it's going to get done, if it's going to get done this year, obviously, especially when you have some time. I have 2 more years left on this deal. So it's like you never know how it's going to play out. But I was hoping it to get done. I know the organization was too, so I was really glad that we were able to work it out. And honestly, as exciting as it is now, just kind of put it behind us and get to move forward and having the stability of knowing that the biggest thing is that I'm going to be here for the long term and the long haul. So I'm really excited about that. It's home to us now. That's the biggest thing is, it's home to us, but also the direction the organization's going. I'm just excited to be a part of that. And obviously, we have a really bright future, and I'm excited to lead that. And I know that, I have a big responsibility in that, so really excited for it.
Well, I think that you're sending a message if you're the team, right? First of all, you're not just doing it to send a message, right? You believe in this guy, but that's part of the message is that we don't want to wait. This is the first opportunity we've had, and we're going to take advantage of that opportunity. But at the same time, here's Trevor Lawrence, who's pretty stoic, right? Pretty unflappable kind of guy. Let's kind of rolls with the punches, so to speak. And here he goes, look, I know I got 2 years left on my rookie deal. And in fact, that's the way they structured it, that's going to play out including the fifth-year option, and then this new money will kick in. But he's like, it's still, it didn't have to get done now, but it's a relief that it is done now. And you talk about the distraction of contract negotiations, right? Jaguars are one of those teams that doesn't believe in negotiating in season. And I think this is kind of part of the reason why. Like, if it's always hanging out there, is it going to get done? Is it not going to get done? Look, anything we get done with your representatives is going to get done by the end of training camp. And if not, then we'll process where we stand next off season. But here's a guy who he should know his place in the organization is as secure as anyone.
Yeah.
Yet, still, there's some relief that it actually gets done in a timely fashion.
Yeah, I think, last week with Trevor Lawrence speaking at the podium, you'll get national reaction to what Trevor Lawrence is saying, right? Especially this time of year. There's not a whole lot going on,
right,
around the league. So a guy getting paid what Trevor Lawrence was getting paid, there's going to be 3-4 days of discussion nationally about what this means for Trevor, for the Jaguars, and for all the other quarterbacks that are looking for money here over the next couple months. And that's what the conversation turned into. I don't expect fans around the country to be listening to the interview on Jaguars.com.
Probably not.
But I will say, as we're about to hear him talk about wanting to be in Jacksonville long term, that I hope that every time these conversations come up, that every Jets fan feels it in their stomach from here for the next decade, right? That they don't get to do this. They don't get to have this. They were able to land their current guy, and they might be able to enjoy him for another year or two, right? And Jacksonville is going to have their guy for a decade. And you can thank Frank Gore, for putting them in that situation, that they don't get to have these kind of conversations about their quarterback being the guy for a long time within the building. They laughed about it when it happened. Ha, Jacksonville, it won't work out for you. It's like, all right, here we are.
Right, won't work out for Trevor.
Right, like, here
Clearly,
we are.
That's not been an issue.
Here we are. And that feeds in part to the next thing that he was asked about and saying, hey, Jets fans, Trevor Lawrence, did you want to be in Jacksonville long term?
For sure. This was, it's cool because we've seen, we've been here, I guess, in all the different situations. Like, we've been here and we haven't been very good. We've had, a great year here. We've had last year that started off great and then, ended kind of disappointingly. So we've kind of seen every side of it, and it's just a great place to live. We really feel good about that, and just as far as our family goes, and somewhere where we want to be long term. So that makes it a lot easier for sure.
Look, you give me $275 million, Tony. Even if
he'll
it's
be
not,
happy,
right? Like, I'd be happy anywhere. But would it change me? You're damn right, it probably would, right? I mean, I don't have the kind of will and discipline that would be necessary to put yourself in position to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Never mind the talent.
Right. And to be fair, I do think those kind of comments reflect how I felt about it when it happened. Right. When Jacksonville was the team that was going to land Trevor Lawrence, and looking at where he's been in his career before that, right? Playing in Georgia where he did, playing at Clemson, which has that kind of small town feel to it where he did, that all these people freaking out that it was Jacksonville was where he's going to go. I was like, that is not an issue at all for Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor has handled it that way the whole time.
Could have been for somebody else. I mean, there are the types of,
Kayvon Thibodeau might have had an issue in Jacksonville.
Absolutely. Some guys want the bright lights of the big market.
Right. Trevor Lawrence was not that guy.
By the way, Giants not having a ton of on-field success either, right? So, anyway, getting back to Trevor, says the deal that he signed won't change him regardless.
I don't think I need to change who I am as far as my preparation. I really trust that, and I feel like I, do the things that I need to do to be prepared, and I put the work in. So that's not something that I second guess and feel like I need to do more of now that I have this contract, or that I'm here for a long time. I don't think I need to change that. I do think there's some things in my game that I definitely can improve on, and I want to improve on in order to take us to where we can go. So I know those are some improvements that I need to make.
Well, we know the pressure is going to be on Trevor Lawrence. It's been there, right, for the last couple of years, especially going into 2023. And he didn't play up to a lot of the expectations that a lot of us had for him going into year 3. Now he's getting the opportunity to go into year 4. Now he's got the contract on top of that. It's not like he wasn't a marked man from the moment he got here. He's been that guy since he got here to Jacksonville. But he was asked about the pressure of being the franchise quarterback here with the Jaguars.
That's how I've looked at myself anyways, is the franchise quarterback. And I have a big responsibility regardless of whether it's getting this new deal done or whether it's on my rookie deal. I feel like I had a big responsibility then too. So, I don't think that changes necessarily. Obviously, I guess maybe the rhetoric around it will change, but for me, I think I have a big responsibility, and I know what that is, and I have a lot of confidence in who I am and what I can do and what I bring to the table, and I know that, like I said, the future is really bright, the best is yet to come, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
All right, one more here from Trevor Lawrence. And again, these are a lot of the sentiments he expressed during his press conference last week. It's not anything groundbreakingly new, but this is one that we talked about with Tom McManus on Friday. This is a more succinct soundbite. He feels, Trevor, that this is the most talent that the Jags have had.
Honestly, this is the best team this year coming up that by far that we've had here, just from a talent perspective and how we're gelling together this early. Everything is going really well. So I have really high expectations, and I think once you've been to the playoffs and you've kind of felt what that's like, and we feel like that's where we belong every year, and to make a deep playoff run and to win a championship. So that's the goal, and anything short of that is going to be a disappointment.
Look, I think it would be a tremendous disappointment to all Jags fans if they don't win a championship in his time here. Most talent they've had doesn't necessarily mean they'll have the best record that they've had, but I do think that they're a better roster. Tony, we've talked about it. Your mileage may vary. You may feel that way. You may not feel that way. And in the end, it doesn't really matter how we feel. Got to go out there and got a lot of tough opponents to start this season off with, right? So all this happy talk means nothing if you come out of the gates 1-3 this year. You got to overcome. You got to find a way to beat these teams that are also playoff contenders that are kind of on the same tier as you. Not clearly on the Kansas City level, but ones who think that they should be perennial playoff teams for the next 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, look, I think the roster is better. I also think it's fair to look at the team going into 2024 and recognize that there's so many moving pieces in the secondary that it's really hard to know exactly what that's going to look like, right? They've had to change some things on that side of the ball in that position. The depth chart at edge rush is thin. It's thin. Like, they just can't afford any injuries at that spot. And wide receiver, if they were to lose, especially Christian Kirk, right? Like, that guy is so hard to replace. And I think there is some degree of Gabe Davis or Brian Thomas Jr. could replace one another, kind of in the lineup kind of thing. But if you lose one of them, then you're going to what? And 3 wide receiver sets. Is Tim Jones on the field?
Duvernay?
Is it Duvernay?
Don't know.
Like that feels
Elijah
like
Cooks.
a big drop, right? At that specific position for the football team. So it's not being blind to, I can recognize the spots where I feel like they are pretty thin going into the season, and I feel good about the frontline guys, but I can recognize the spots where I feel like they're pretty thin. The positions that I don't think they're thin are offensive line. I don't think they're thin there, and I don't think they're thin on the defensive interior. And I think those are 2 monster positions to not have to worry too much about that kind of thing. The bodies that you're going to have available. It's not the premier positions necessarily in the league, but I think they're really important positions because of the attrition you see at those spots specifically in a typical year.
All right, let's come back and kick around today's question of the day presented by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. Which choice would best represent your reaction if the city council passes the Jags Stadium proposal, but it results in the team having to play 3 home games in London during the 2027 season? You're okay as a one-off situation. Why not Orlando? Time to book a London trip, or just total BS. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, back to wrap things up. Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Tony and I talked about this a little bit earlier today. Wearing a shirt today that a couple of seasons ago was about the one I could squeeze into with a Jaguar logo on it. Now it's kind of draped all over me because I've been able to lose the weight with Awaken 180. But more important than that, look, the weight loss is important, but if you can't maintain it, what good is it? I was looking at a commercial the other day about some weight loss thing where you get an injection, and in addition to a lower calorie diet and exercise, you may lose X amount of weight. And in the fine print, it says as soon as you go off the medication, you're likely to put the weight back on. See, that's the thing. Awaken 180, there are no medications. There's nothing required in terms of exercise. They're going to teach you to eat better. And once you do, you're going to turn your body into a fat-burning machine, and you're going to want to keep the weight off. You get free coaching for life once you hit your goal weight. By the way, call 844-346-1800 for Awaken 180 Weight Loss, or schedule your consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today.
Jaguars Today.
From the JOI Studios at 1010XL.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute.
Where the pros go. The Bold City's radio home of the Jaguars.
Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Summer starts now at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet with our summer sale. It's not sink or swim. We have vehicles for every budget and every need, starting as low as $79.99, and you won't get burnt. We offer 20-year 200,000-mile protection on new and 7-year 100,000-mile protection on used. Plus, we can really cool things off with our 30-day exchange policy. Start the summer off the way you deserve it with our summer sale at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Attention real estate agents, loan officers, and mortgage professionals. Trust your real estate closings to the expertise of St. John's Title, LLC. As a board-certified attorney-owned and operated firm with years of experience, St. John's Title provides the utmost of precision and professionalism. With conveniently located offices and in-home remote closing options, our customer-first approach ensures a seamless process tailored to your timeline. Join our team of experts and 5-star testimonials from customers across the First Coast. Choose St. John's Title.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home this week at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Wednesday is a day game on 5-Star Good is Everywhere Wednesday, featuring Heal Foundation and the Miracle League. The weekend starts with Coors Light Thirsty Thursday, and then fireworks Friday and Saturday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. JackShrimp.com. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable, family fun.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Now those sound like some well-oiled machines. If you're a business owner that uses tons of fuel, you need B&B. If you're in charge of a job site that uses tons of fuel, once again, you need B&B. B&B Oil and Fuel has the fuel you need and will deliver straight to your site or office. Top-notch products and service delivered with B&B Oil and Fuel. Job sites, boats, generators, nothing but the best fuel with B&B Oil and Fuel. Online at bb-oil.com. Only the best with B&B Oil and Fuel.
He used to cover the Jags. Now he's a CBS Sports senior NFL writer.
Well, I believe he's got everybody's attention.
He's Pete Prisco. Friday afternoons on The Frangie Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, I tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. You've heard me talk about the Rolex my grandfather gave me for graduating from college, but there's something else you need to know about Rolex watches from an official Rolex jeweler for over 60 years. If you own a Rolex, probably today more than ever before, if you need that Rolex serviced, you should only visit an official Rolex jeweler. In North Florida, there are 4, with Underwood's 3 stores and Mayors has 1. Anybody else claiming to work on Rolex has no direct access to parts, and the use of non-authentic Rolex parts jeopardizes your Rolex from both an authenticity and a value standpoint. At Underwood's, we have state-of-the-art Rolex repair shops, both designed and outfitted by Rolex and staffed by Rolex watch technicians trained by Rolex. And best of all, our shop is on premise, so your Rolex will never leave Jacksonville, and our Rolex repairs carry a 2-year warranty. At Underwood's in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y Summer Camp, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
Andrew Gibson here, sports fans, and the next time you're driving by Kuhn Flowers on Beach Boulevard, why not stop in and smell the roses? Kuhn Flowers has totally changed the face of their store inside and out. Send someone you love a floral arrangement today from Kuhn Flowers.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, got over 300 votes on this one this morning, and you can vote if you haven't already at your leisure today at MD_1010XL on Twitter or X. Which choice would best represent your reaction if the city council passes the Jags Stadium proposal, but it results in the team having to play 3 home games in London during the 2027 season? Dylan, why don't you set us up?
10-10
Take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 Take, brought to you by Leonard Truck Accessories.
All right, your options on this poll, and you got to find the one that represents your reaction the closest. It's okay. It's a one-year situation. Why not play those games in Orlando? Maybe the one in London, but the others in Orlando. Time to book a London trip or total BS. All right. To me, 64% of the people are going down the same road that I'm going down here, Tone. It's a one-year situation. The reason you're doing it is because you've got a deal done that represents the long-term stability of this franchise in Jacksonville, FLA. Right? This talk of team's going to move to London, team's going to move here, going to move there, it's off the table. They're going to have a new 30-year lease. Is it ideal? No. I'm sure there are plenty of Jag fans that would say, why not play in Orlando? I can make all those trips. And that's true for a lot of people that they would. But I know the reason why not Orlando, because you're going to make a lot more in those extra couple of games if it goes down this road. And as you said, even though they'll be playing in the stadium, there'll be times when you won't have the full capacity available to you. Mm-hmm. So you got to make up that revenue somehow, or you'd like to make up that revenue as much as possible. Look, there are going to be all kinds of jokes about the Jags are London's team and blah, 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 blah. Who cares? Say anything you like. Say anything you like about Trevor Lawrence's contract, it's done. Say anything you like about Josh Allen's contract, it's done. Say anything you like about anything you like. This would lock the Jaguars in here, and to me, that is such a bigger they're not going to play here in Jacksonville regardless. And so for me, from my situation, it doesn't really matter if they play in Orlando, they play in London. If we're doing pre- and post-game radio, we're going to do it likely out of Jacksonville anyway. But as a one-year situation, is it ideal? No. It's better than playing your whole slate over there in London. And again, Orlando's not ideal for everybody either. Mm-hmm. I just think this is one of those, you bite the bullet, and if this is the cost of locking in decades of security for this franchise, it wouldn't be what I would choose to do, but I understand it.
Well, and I think, yeah, I would vote okay as a one-year situation, definitely. That's where my vote would go with the 64% right there along with you, Demps. And I do think there is something from the NFL side of this, right? There are 3 games being played in London coming up in 2024, 3, right? And I think, right, from an NFL perspective, and they are playing a couple games in Germany and they're playing in Brazil, right? Like they have the whole 6-game international slate. But I think from an NFL standpoint, which I don't know when or how viable a team being overseas is ever really going to be, right? I think that's a really difficult prospect for the league to try to figure out. But do I think the league, if the Jaguars come to them and say, here's what we would like to do, we want to play 3 of our home games there and y'all can do whatever the heck else you want to do with the international schedule there too. Do I think the league would have any problem playing 6 games in London for a year? No. I think they'd be going, awesome. What does that look like? Right? Just from the actual making that kind of thing happen. Because if you're ever going to have a team doing that, they're going to have to play 9 some years in a stadium somewhere over there. They're going to have to know exactly what that would look like eventually before they even move forward with those kind of plans. And I think all this would be happening while the Jaguars are not a team to be threatened by it, because they're doing this because the stadium deal's done. They're not going to be the London team.
Right. That's the thing, right? Like, we'll be your guinea pig for a year because we're kind of a nomad team for a year.
But from a league perspective, I think the league would be like, yeah, let's see what it looks like to have to play 6 games in London.
Somebody on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, said, I understand the importance of the new stadium, but instead of 4 games in London, and 4 would be 3 home games and a road game. If it came to, again, I can't speak for this definitively, right? But let's say it was.
This is all conjecture, yeah.
Why not add Ireland and Germany to the list of possibilities for games? Well, Shad Khan wants, like, Wembley's the Jags turf.
Yeah.
Okay? And that stadium generates a ton of revenue. They know how much they're going to make off of those games.
Yeah.
From a competitive standpoint, first of all, it's not ideal to send your team overseas for a month if that's the way it went down. And I'd have a much bigger problem, as I said earlier, if it was like 2 games in September, 2 games in November with a big break in between. But if you want to send them to one place, I don't want them going from Ireland to London to Germany to hopping all over the damn place. I mean, the one thing that this gives the Jags is the continuity of we've done this, we've been down this road, and this is where we're going to be. Yeah. And we're settled in. I mean, it worked out for them last year. They won the 2 games back-to-back. I have no interest in them being the guinea pig going country hopping over there.
And I do wonder if it would be spending a month over in London or if it would be the Jags have to make 2 trips. Right?
Well,
like
that's
those kind of questions, we don't have any idea what the answers to that looks like. And if it is a month trying to play games overseas, that's when the questions of can whatever stadium they want to do that in hold that, right? I don't know what the Premier League teams would have to say about any of that. And that may bring into affect something like, could you play a game in Ireland? Could you play one of those games in Germany? Like, that's why I think that game would be moved to one of those places. It won't be because that's what Shad would intend for that to look like. I think Shad, if the Jags are going to play 3 home games, give that to London, he's going to say, yeah, we want them all in Wembley.
I agree.
Right? Like, I think that's what Shad would want to do. How much Man U or the other teams that would want to use that field would get in the way of that kind of thing happening, I don't know what the answer to that would be. But it would take that for Shad to not be saying, play all the home games there.
Well, I will have an issue if it does go down this road and they split the schedule, so they got to make 2 separate trips at 2 different times and spend multiple weeks there.
That's a lot.
That is a major disadvantage, in my opinion. I think it could be an advantage if you can go and settle in for a month, even if you've got to move. Like, they use certain accommodations for the quote home teams over there. Well, you're not going to be the home team every single week.
Yeah.
So do you have to?
It's the first opportunity that the league would have to look at it that way. Right?
I would think they would want that, right?
Like, I think the league would be like, what does it look like if you have to do this twice?
But like you said, the bigger point being, at the end of the trial, the Jags are coming home to a brand new facility.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to boil down to. So Right now, 64.2% going okay with it as a one-year type situation. 18.8 said, why not Orlando? Total BS pulling in 12.6% of the vote. And I'm wondering, like, is that just based on the fact that you're not able to go to the games in Orlando? Or, I don't know exactly what the root of that is, but that's okay. And then time to book a London trip, 4.4% of the vote right there. I have no question in my mind that Shad, doesn't want to play a home game anywhere but Wembley Stadium if he has to play over there. And I think, if we're going to accommodate you and be your guinea pig to some degree in this unique season, well, the stadium's being refurbished into a new stadium, basically, then I would think Shad would have some significant say in, hey, we're just not going to be jumping around from country to country to country to country. At least I would hope that would be the case, particularly if they're home games. It's one thing of, all right, you're playing a road game here, you're playing a road game there, you're always traveling week to week, you play back-to-back road games, but the idea of playing 3 home games in 3 different countries,
that's a lot.
That is a lot to ask.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I just hope the thing passes tomorrow, and we're spending the rest of the week celebrating the fact that the Jags are locked into Jacksonville for the long term, and we can start dreaming about how great this new facility is going to be and everything that's going to come along with it. And let's hope that the team continues to raise their level of personnel and talent that they have on the roster that, ideally, look, win the next 3 Super Bowls, right? That'd be great. But if it all comes together in that first season here in that brand new stadium in 2028, Trevor Lawrence, still 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, still have 2 years left on the deal at that point. Go win the Super Bowl, then we'll renegotiate while you have 2 years left on your deal. We'll extend you another 5 out into the future beyond that. And what's not to love at that point in time?
And look, we don't have any idea what kind of impact whatever the schedule is going to be in 2027 is going to have yet. Right, and we won't really know till we have some idea of what the schedule is actually going to look like for them, trying to figure out what they're going to do when they're not playing in Jacksonville. They're going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars playing in Orlando.
They're going to be the Nomads for a year.
For a year, that's what they're going to do. And I don't know how good the team is going to be that season. So I can understand there being frustration if they do build it here for the next 3 years, and that feels like the 99 run.
You might have the best team in franchise history potentially, right? Or maybe not.
Right. That would be really frustrating if we got to that point with it and they're not doing it here. I get it, but we don't know exactly what that's going to look like, and we won't know till we get a whole lot closer to it.
But again, that alternative, you're doing it not as a trial run to be the team that gets sent over there, but as hey, we got to play somewhere.
Yeah.
We're going to make the money. We've gotten to the point where we're actually pretty good playing there in terms of our record compared to what we do the rest of the time, the rest of the season. They were 2-0 there last year. It could turn into a competitive advantage for the Jacksonville Jaguars, at least for that one season. Who knows? City Council, you have your marching orders. Don't blow this. Right? I'm serious. I mean, all signs indicate that they won't, but don't. Okay, do not set us back down this path, but it does seem like things are going to, fingers crossed, go in a good direction. All right, Dylan, why don't we wrap things up, man?
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Really in a holding pattern right now. Let's just get this deal done, and then we can all talk about the particulars of it. 27 season's going to be topsy-turvy regardless, but the payoff being that a lot of Jaguar fans, certainly my age, even younger, will know that pretty much for the remainder of their lifetime, they'll be the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they'll be in a facility that will blow your freaking mind when they get to play. And they seem to be building the roster a little bit better every single year. You've got your cornerstones under contract. So is it ideal? No, nothing's going to be ideal when you can't play your home games in your city of choice, but that's the situation we find ourselves in for that one season. Also, we talked today about Jags who are potentially top 10 players at their position. That got brought up early in the program. A lot can change between now and the end of the season. I could absolutely see a lot of guys who are on the outside looking in, forcing their way into that conversation. Right now, I would probably put Josh Allen, Evan Ingram, Foye Oluokun, and Travis Etienne in those groups where I'm comfortable putting him among offensive and defensive starters. Again, specialists aside, Devin Duvernay might be the number one return man in the entire National Football League. Let's hope he is this year. So, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We'll cook up something for the Tuesday top 5 for tomorrow. Tony's got short timers disease. He'll be gone after the next couple of days, and vacation season is upon us. SEASON. Vacation season. All right, that's going to do it for us today. So for Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, thanks to Hayes Carline for joining us. And if you missed that interview or anyone here on 1010XL, go to the on-demand section at 1010XL.com and listen back at your leisure. I'm Mike Dempsey. We'll be back again tomorrow from 10 to noon with more Jaguars Today here on 1010XL and 92.5.